What?
And there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
What?
There is an
infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Hey, hey.
Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
No.
Hey, hey.
Scam of a CD. You've conned people into taking a worthless currency that you create for nothing.
Can you stay categorically?
You are fake news. It's Sparta!
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're live. How are we doing? How are we doing, Crypto Coffee?
I love the intro, man. It never gets old. It's always
no.
Man, very hype, very hype. I'm good. Glad to be here. About to hop on the HEX cruise in a matter of one day, but figured I'd hop on this one first.
Fantastic. Well, who do you know who's there already, or do they have any idea of who's going to be? Obviously, you special guest. Boom. You know.
Yeah. You know, I have no idea who's going to be there. I kind of just go into these things blind and hope for the best. So let's hope everyone's friendly. I'm sure they will be.
For those who have not been on like a meetup or done a HEX meetup before, what is the typical activities, if you can give us the behind the scenes and maybe the stuff you don't see on camera?
They've all been so much fun, man. I mean, it kicks a Bitcoin Maxis meetup ass any day of the week. Like, it's just parties, yachts, clubs, fancy dinners, like, because we're the ones that actually have money to spend, you know. We're not just a bunch of broke sad boys talking, because, and trust me, I've been to these Bitcoin conferences too. It's really hard for me to say too much good about them at this point. You know, I think a lot of it, when you go to some of these Bitcoin only events, they feel very exclusive, very antagonistic towards everybody that's not part of their little club. Whereas, you know, with HEX, it's more so about celebration of how far we've come and optimism on where we have to go in the future. There's a lot of good energy in the air. No one's ever been an asshole, you know, in real life. It's easy to talk shit behind a keyboard on Twitter all day, but you get these guys together and you realize everyone that wants to put up the effort to actually come out and meet each other, that's kind of self-selecting, right? It filters out the people that you wouldn't want to hang out with anyway. And so it's only just, you know, the best of the best people. And some very eccentric weirdos, you know, in a good way, which I love. And then just some very down to earth, very, very positive individuals as well. And you'll find like everyone's kind of trying to do their own thing and make their own path forward in crypto or life in general. And it all ties back to HEX somehow. You know, it's YouTubers, it's people with their own companies, a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurial and kind of freedom-minded people, a lot of ex-military for some reason. And it's just great. You know, it's just a really good group of humans. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to come to a HEX event, it doesn't have to be a conference. You don't have to dish out a whole bunch of money, but the PulseChain tour is coming up, and that's going to be city to city in the U.S. Unfortunately, it's only in the U.S. as far as I know. They might be doing one in Europe with. I don't know if Abit and Hex Lion are planning something in Europe as well. I've heard they might be, but so far, yeah, the PulseChain tour as well. When we come to your city, feel free to stop by, say hi. You don't have to drop $1,000 on a fancy hotel or anything like that. You can just come, come for free if you can't afford it. But just come meet everybody, because it makes the whole thing feel more solid and more real. It makes the whole mission feel like you're a part of it, and we're definitely on track to be going somewhere. you know, but we're not just resting on our laurels, sitting around and circle jerking like the Bitcoin boys, like, oh, we're the best that there ever was and ever will be. It's like, no, we're building the future. We're taking part in the future of crypto, and that's what feels so good about it.
Yeah, I had a meetup in London. It was a fantastic meetup, and met a lot of guys with the Paw Plague crew. And then, as a result of that, they kind of just did a free for all, and we had like 60 people in one of the pubs in London. And that was great. You know, the stories were great, and the people that we met up with. It's nice to see people behind the camera, or not behind the camera, maybe making the comments and stuff like that. So that was pretty decent. And I know I've been saying on my channel that we're going to do a meetup in May. So yeah, that should be good fun. I'm looking forward to that, and a few secret surprises. Fingers crossed. We'll see who attends and who comes in May.
I'm really looking forward to coming back to London, dude. I wasn't able to fully get the most out of it the first time around. My trip got cut short, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of you guys out there, a lot of Hexkins representing all the English-speaking countries, even most of Europe. You know, France, Germany, Spain, Ireland, Australia, UK, South Africa. Like, we're all over the world, really. I don't think we've really infiltrated China too hard, but it's kind of hard to get over there, what with all the the regulations and all that stuff.
The good old CCP, doing its thing.
Yeah,
probably get demonetized then.
Yeah, they're planting their roots down on Bitcoin right now. They're actually subsidizing Bitcoin. Like the whole meme is, you know, 1 year China bans Bitcoin, the next year it's the best thing ever. The next year they ban it again. And but it does look like they're going to be a serious player, at least, you know, Singapore and that whole area, and Hong Kong, in the crypto sphere, because they've actually got the regulations figured out, unlike in the US, where we've got companies like Bitrex straight up leaving, saying we're out because fuck this. We don't want to waste our time trying to follow all the rules, and the rules don't even exist. And then you hit us with an enforcement action rather than even tell us what the rules are. But luckily, tables are turning. I think Gary Gensler is on the chopping block. I think he's on his way out. He just got completely grilled by U.S. House representatives, a lot of Republicans. And if people that don't know, in the U.S., Gary Gensler is the chairman of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Committee. He kind of isn't, you know, kind of in charge of trying to decide what is a security, what isn't, and what a regulation should be for a crypto to apply to be a security, you know, if they wanted to. And of course, he's done none of that so far. He's failed to do his job of, quote unquote, protecting investors. You know, he was having backdoor deals with FTX. You know, he went to MIT with Alameda Research's Carolyn Ellison's mother. Obviously, that's just a perfect example of good old-fashioned corruption, good old-fashioned political corporate overlap corruption. And here we are just kind of feeling the repercussions of it. So, you know, everyone's getting sued out here left and right. To my knowledge, they've gone so heavy on with their iron fist that they almost forgot about anything Hex related. I haven't heard much about the Hex investigation since they just decided that everyone's bad and that all of crypto is just the boogeyman. So, you know, they're suing everybody out there, guys. Hide your kids, hide your wife, because they're suing everybody.
Well, that seems to be a big sentiment, and in Hex, I believe that it's a major kind of events-based. We see price action from events. So when we had that SEC FUD, we definitely saw price depreciation. You know, price going down, and it's funny to me now that sentiment's kind of been kicked out. Then it's the next one. PulseChain isn't going to launch. Why is he doing so many test nets? Why is this? And I love the complete deniability of haters and people who are outside the system, or people who just don't like Hex in general. And it's slowly changing, right? Like the influencers are slowly changing their mind as basically things get built, things get shown, new test nets as we come towards PulseChain launch. I'm interested to hear what you'd think would be the next big FUD, what would be the next big piece after PulseChain launches.
Look, man, you can never predict the stupidity of the human race. Like it's endless, right? There's always going to be a new FUD if you want to focus your mind on that. Here's the thing, dude. In a bear market, all news is bad news. Even good news is bad news in a bear market. So we're pattern-seeking animals. We look to the past to try to always ask why. Why did the price go down? That's the meme, right? Like new pleb gets on Twitter. Why is price dumping? Can the devs please do something? And it's like, bro, we're in a bear market. Everything dumps. If you got good news, people would find a way to make that good news into a negative thing. We're in a bull market, everything pumps, right? And then all of a sudden, a PulseChain delay would just be, oh, more time to stack, right? It would be like an alternative narrative, more time to stack before the big run up. But you know, people, some segment of the population is always going to be salty and always find a glass half empty way to look at things. And those people are not going to make it. They never were, whether it's the stock market, Bitcoin, Ethereum, any other crypto. It doesn't even have to be HEX. They're not going to make it in any investing endeavor because their mentality sucks. Their mindset is fucked and they're just not going to make it. And GMI, right? But if you look at all these things as positives, right? You mentioned it. Ivan on Tech is coming out publicly defending PulseChain. I love the guy, man. Ivan on Tech is getting more people hyped up, and even BitBoy Crypto. Yeah, he called HEX a meme coin. Kind of lame of him. Kind of felt like it was a backhanded compliment, but he's still the #1 YouTuber in all of crypto. He's got over 1 million subscribers. What more do you want? So if you look around, testnet v4 is out. Validators are profitable. Speeds, like the quality of the PulseChain testnet is higher than any other, you know, blockchain I've seen in existence. And so you can look at all these really positive things going on. The HEX price right now is double what it was at 3 months ago. You're like, why is it dumping? Why is it dumping? Bro, where were you during the 9 months it was at 3 cents and now it's at 6 cents? And you're going to bitch about the fact that it's not at 9 cents or 12 cents? Who else gets 100% in the real world? Who else gets a double on their money in only 3 months? And yeah, when PulseChain comes out, it can go to 25, 35. It might even, it might even crack 50 cents. I'm skeptical on that, but I do think HEX will run up significantly before PulseChain launch. But be patient, guys. You know, you don't just get rich in crypto overnight. Yes, the pumps, when they happen very quickly. They happen in maybe a span of a week or two, and it feels euphoric. And you're like, oh my god, how did this happen so fast? But then people just expect that it's going to go up forever like that. No, not at all. There's pullbacks, and the pullbacks are drastic, especially in HEX. The pullbacks are 25, 40%. In this case, we went from 12 cents down to 6 cents. But you're still doubled up on your money if you would have just bought, 3 months ago in the lull when nobody cared about it. So, in my opinion, the way I look at things, everything's great. Like everything is going according to plan. Everything's going fantastically. And, PulseChain really has never been closer. Testnet V4 will be the last testnet. I'm pretty confident of that. I joke around on Twitter a little bit, and I don't think sometimes people don't get my jokes. I guess I'm just not funny. But, I said something about V5, right? That's not true, guys. There is no V5. I'm messing with you guys. Also, I don't believe that PulseChain will really be stealth launched. I do believe Richard will stick to his word and give people at least 24 hours to mark down a block height in which the PulseChain fork is going to happen. So that's my stance on those two things. And I think we can look forward to that happening as soon as May. It could happen in May. I mean,
mid-May.
The prophecy has been fulfilled. Mid-May, 2 years later. You guys didn't realize you meant 2023, did you?
You duped you. Nah, I would love to see mid-May, just for the irony of it. Like, just put it out there, mid-May, just for fun. I was watching. I was having a look at Brett Paulson's Twitter, and he was talking about why the reasons for V4 instead of V3, and kind of. I've been liking the updates also from Richard, the way he's been doing it. There's been kind of clear correlation between every update that Richard's put out and then price performance as well. And a lot of people may disagree with that, but I could show it on screen and we can talk about that in a moment's time. But there has been clear correlation. So it's good for price performance. I mean, as you said, right? If we go beginning of start of this year, we saw the 1 cent, 1.7 cent dip. We saw January, that was where we were at, and now we're around about the 6 cent mark, and that's the 6x in 4 months or so, right? And so to me, it's crazy. People wait for that for years and years and years in traditional markets, and next thing you know, we're all complaining about it because we've not
never enough, right? They're insatiable, right? But it's like people just think it's a game of get rich quick. It's get rich slow scheme, right? You're winning the lottery in slow motion, but hey. I'll take a 4-year retirement plan over a 40-year retirement plan. That's what I always say. And yeah, it's not gonna be fun, especially if you're watching the price chart every day and your whole entire life's happiness and sense of self-worth is reliant on the daily price chart. People, they see red candles and they're like, I gotta admit, guys, this is getting pretty disheartening, and they'll fucking cry about it on Twitter. Like, I hate that kind of stuff. I guess I really hate weakness, when I see weakness in people's conviction, those are the people I mute on Twitter. You know, if you're not totally convinced that this is going to be a total game changer, probably the biggest thing in crypto since Ethereum, maybe, probably. Well, HEX obviously too. You're wrong. You're just in denial, right? Like a lot of people don't want it to succeed because they missed HEX and they hate Richard and they can't get over their own egos when realizing what we have here is a major innovation that's going to save users from exorbitantly high gas fees that are all priced out. Not only Hexicans, but anybody that wants to use their Ethereum blockchain smart contract can now use it, and you get a free airdrop, so that bootstraps adoption, and the block times are faster, and the inflation rate is better for validators. Like, there's so many good things about it that they fixed a lot of bugs that were discovered from Ethereum that Ethereum didn't even know about. I mean, these developers are good, and you mentioned the guy Brett Paulson, right? If you guys want to get some information straight from the source, make sure you're following Bretep on Twitter.
Yep.
BRETEP.
Correct.
Just a normal guy, smart developer, and you can set alerts on whatever he tweets about. But you know when he's getting excited, you know when he's starting to tweet more often, that we got to be close. I mean, it's not just Richard updates now. Now you're hearing from the developers themselves. Like even the developers can't contain their excitement. So, and these guys are normally stone faced, you know, poker face on, but you know, not right now, guys. You could tell it's more just an intuition. I know there's no launch date, but intuitively, I just feel like it's right around the corner, and I can't wait until I can stop saying that, because it's just it's just waiting around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice also just to shut up some last haters as well. But I don't know. I mean, is your life really going to change too much? The way I kind of see it, yeah, maybe there's going to be a crazy pump initially, then usual with kind of layer ones, a 2-month drop off, and 90-day drop off, and then you'll get the FUD, right? Like you'll get all the I missed it, and then maybe PulseChain's is not meant to be, and you get that cycle, right? And then you go into the bull market, and as we see Ethereum prices climbing up, gas fees climbing up, going a bit crazy if you're wanting to mint and stake and do all the fun things that you want to do on Ethereum, which is going to be fantastic for adoption, right? You come to PulseChain, gas fees minimal, very, very cheap. Being able to do everything that you want to do on Ethereum, you can just bring it across and do it on PulseChain. So I'm excited for that. And then the real job is really just getting it out there, talking about it. And I'm very interested to see as well what happens with the highest of stakes, because I saw a clip with Synergy Alex, and he just posted something which is hilarious right around the time that we believe PulseChain is actually going to launch. Highest of stakes trailer with Alex watching it, where the music and the orchestra is already encapsulated inside the movie itself. Just seems to be perfect timing. So I'm looking forward to it.
I wonder why Alex was able to watch that, because they're only able to let legally, they're only able to let a certain number of people view it if they want to put it up for like Academy Awards and stuff like that. So I guess he's one of the special. He's the chosen one. He's sitting at the table with the robes on and everything. Lucky him.
You didn't get a call?
Yeah, maybe that was a call I hung up on. Maybe I thought it was a spam number. Fuck, should I answer?
There you go. You should have been more buddy with RG3.
Yeah. We're good friends. Me and RG go way back. But now even he told me, he's like, yeah, I can't show you the movie, bro. Like, I'm not legally allowed to.
Well, it all depends. Maybe you needed to place a bid. Maybe something
Money
like that.
talks.
Who knows?
Yeah, money talks.
Well, that liquidity money. Anyway, I see that we got a few comments in the chat. Thanks, guys, for coming in straight in. Red Squirrel shilling the heck out of Tetra as well. I want to know your thoughts on Tetra coffee. Have you looked much into it?
It's an automation tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is for. Funny enough, I've got a buddy building almost the same thing on Ethereum, and he hasn't focused on PulseChain yet, because you're not going to get any investor money on something that doesn't exist yet if you're building something that, like, for a platform that doesn't exist. So he's working closely with Layer Zero and that whole team to do kind of the same thing that Tetra is doing, I believe. We'll see. I mean, it sounds like Tetra can probably beat my friend's company to market on PulseChain specifically. But when it comes to getting in with all the other chains, I think that's the use case of Tetra is the cross-chain one-click automation workflows where you can drag and drop and say, I want to bridge, I want to unstake my ETH on Lido, I want to bridge to PulseChain, and then I want to provide liquidity over on PulseChain, all in one click, one gas transaction, across many chains doing many different functions. And so Tetra, I know, hasn't even been, it's not, I don't know if it's even has a proof of concept yet. It's an interesting idea. I just think there's definitely one other big player in that space that I think is going to be the dominant player on other chains. So, hey, more power to Tetra if they can pull it off and become the dominant version. But yeah, same thing with PortalX. A lot of these aggregator platforms are going to be very, very needed on PulseChain. But I think the real play too is to build affinities with other network groups by shilling your product to other chains. We can kind of become friends with them, allies, so to speak, and not rub them the wrong way. Like whatever happened with HEX, I'm not sure what exactly it was, why everybody decided to hate on it. But these projects like Tetra and PortalX are great because I don't foresee the same thing happening because of stuff like this, because these are cross-chain interoperability plays that other people have a stake in too. Like, oh, like AVAX, Phantom. Oh yeah, if we use PortalX, maybe we can siphon some liquidity off of PulseChain. Now, in reality, I think it's going to go the other way around. A lot of money is going to come from other chains, and all roads lead into PulseChain. But everybody just wants their own blockchain to be as connected as possible to everything else.
Yeah. Had a question come in, Bob Fry. Talking of HEX meetups, EVView comes to Budapest in July. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
I'm on the possibly. If I can make some arrangements, possibly. We'll see. MJ Money in the chat as well. Alex bought the box set for $55,555.
That explains it.
Which includes that screening. So, yeah.
Jesus,
yep.
That's a lot of money, man.
Well, yeah. He's doing okay.
I donated 10K, but apparently that wasn't enough, huh?
Well, no.
How much we do in the background, guys. You don't realize. A little crypto coffee here is shilling your bags for you guys. Don't worry. Money's going to good use.
Can you speak on that as well? And one of the things I would address real quick for those who don't know, the reason why I started my channel was because there was a giveaway that Coffee, Crypto Stylist, and also K4K were involved with. Now, I don't know who donated the 100,000 HEX. I don't know who did that. Maybe it was Godwell. Maybe it was Richard. Maybe it was Coffee.
It wasn't me. That one, I will tell you for a fact that was not me. But
okay, well, there was someone, some player in the background that they won't tell me. They still won't tell me to this day. Only Crypto.
I knew, bro. If I knew, I would tell you off camera, straight up. I want to know too. But yeah, that was crazy because we didn't think anything was going to come out of that, and we got a whole YouTuber out of it as a side effect. So hey, look at that. Sometimes giveaways work in mysterious ways.
That's it. Yeah, and it's funny what
you game the system too, which is fucking hilarious.
Of course it did, man.
We were surprised nobody else did that. We're like, really? This is the only guy? Okay.
I mean, I take it from Richard as well. Richard had there was a perfect 10,000x, literally perfect 10,000x, and we have an OA that's very. I'm not saying that Richard's the OA, but we have good market makers and good people within our system who look after the price and who are looking after you. So yeah, that's my general belief.
Yeah, that story's hilarious, man. Giveaways, they can be really hit or miss, and you want to make sure that you at least get something out of it. So the TikTok challenge was a giveaway where you at least have to make some content about HEX. So it's not a total loss if the person that you give it away to just decides to dump the money and run. Luckily, I'm pretty sure that didn't maybe he did dump it. I don't care. It's not my money. It's not my place to ask. But a lot of people would have just dumped it and then never spoken again to anybody. But it turns out you're not like some click farm in the Philippines that just happened to win and we never hear from you again. We've been hearing a lot from you, so that's great.
Actually, I could probably go through how I've turned that 100,000 into about 1 million HEX if you want.
Please.
If you want to talk about it.
The people deserve to know.
Okay, let's talk about it. Why not? I'm just gonna give away my secrets and let's go for it. So there was a few perpetuals that I've exchanged for that are respectively going to be at the end of the stake. One's going to be about 120,000 hex, and others about 200,000 hex, and then there was another. I'd swapped some for some Hedron, and I bought a HSI that was 100,000 hex, and that HSI will be over 1 million hex plus, I believe, at the end of the protocol. So it got changed. I mean, it got changed into more hex, just so people know. To be completely honest on stream, that's what it did. And I don't want to give away wallets and stuff, so I'm just going to keep it as brief like that. But that's essentially what had happened with it. And I think I still got some liquid as well. So
beautiful, man. See, that's a way. A lot of people don't realize that. They think these perpetuals are like a distraction or something. And if you're clever with it, if you're smart, you buy Trio, maybe you buy Lucky or whatever. But you know, the whole Hedron play, that's very interesting. I have not heard of anybody multiplying their bag that much. Now, granted, you do have to have a long-term time horizon on some of these. Like if you bought a 5 day HSI, well, you're stuck with that for 15 years. But hey, we've all got our 15-year stakes out here. I think the ones like Trio and Base, I would assume that Base is what you're earning 120K hex on.
Yeah. It was actually, I got a Trio and I think I got a Desi.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, those are two solid ones, and it's better. It's objectively, you're going to make more hex, like way more hex than you would staking alone. Especially realizing that they're on discount right now, 10% off on Desi, maybe 20%. If you actually were going to stake these things anyway, the opportunity is staring you right in the face, and a lot of people just aren't doing it. I don't know why.
The discount's crazy to me. That's been the thing, especially when you start to see like a bit more fun and kind of price depreciation, and also you look at the liquidity as well. When we start to reduce our liquidity significantly, hit towards that 50 million hex range, and then start to see a dump off. At that point, when it starts dumping off and the pools start to fill back up with hex, I've noticed that you'll get a massive discount on something like a Desi, something like a Trio, even a Lucky. And that's where I kind of sniped the opportunity. And I think people's attention spans switch from one thing to another. We know that there's a coin that's pumping quite a lot right now, right? And people's attentions kind of switch to that, and they seem to be converting their hex into that. Okay, that's their derivative. That's a play, whatever they want to do. However, what you'll notice is the quiet ones, or the ones that no one's really talking about, is where your play is going to be best. So another thing, maybe a little bit of alpha for some people, is that whilst everyone's looking at PulseChain, right, and looking at Pulse and PulseX and maybe even PHEX, no one's going to be looking at Hedron on PulseChain. No one might be looking at ICOSA on PulseChain, or HEX even. So that's the excitement of economic energy spreading and people having multiple protocols to look at, is because one, it's that old trick. You're looking at this hand, but there's something else going on in the other hand, and that's how I view it. That's how I've viewed it.
That's how you're going to win in investing. It's going where everyone's not focused on, where people's financial energy is not currently on. That's where you should be looking at as the opportunity buys. Because the perpetuals are going to come back one day during the bull market. The perpetuals are going to be at a premium. You might never really get them at a discount again in terms of 1-to-1 hex in the bull market. And if everyone's chasing the hot new thing that's pumping last month, okay, cool. You're buying the top. You're literally being other people's exit liquidity, especially for a coin that people mint for free. If you're coming in buying the top of that, you are literal exit liquidity. So be careful out there. And I know it feels good, because here's what green candles are, is essentially confirmation bias. Like, it allows people to feel more secure in them pressing the buy button, because in their head they say, oh, well, everybody else already bought it, it must be a good idea. It's the exact opposite. Everybody else already bought it, meaning you're the last one in, buddy. Like, when nobody was paying attention about it, that's when you wanted to load the bags, but you weren't there because again, it's these weak-minded people with no conviction in what they're buying that need other people to have already bought in order to realize that there's value there. If you understand the protocol, the coin, the narrative, the product market fit, the value propositions of whatever you're buying, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. If you see an opportunity, you'll feel comfortable about that.
And it's crazy to me, when you look at, so let's go back to the fundamentals of what HEX is and how it's beneficial. Is like, we look at the T-share rate, we know that is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger, especially as we go into the bull run, right? And we're looking at a T-share rate. I'm saying next bull run is probably 2025, maybe late 2025. And we could be looking at double the price of what the T-share rate is right now. So every single time that you're getting T-shares for discount, you're benefiting yourself on the long haul. You're playing this game where you're literally getting a money printer that's way cheaper than it will be in the future. And so it makes zero sense to me to be just dumping that off and not really thinking about it. Maybe you want a ladder, maybe you want something out there, and I know you got some fantastic material on that, whereby you say, well, on a yearly basis or maybe bi-yearly basis that you got something coming out. But I think most people, like in Bitcoin, like in Ethereum, they're going to miss out on many of the gains, because if we look at the price performance of HEX versus Bitcoin, price performance of HEX versus Ethereum, in some cases it's outperforming those from the start. If we go look at Axis's stuff, right? Axis talks a lot about HEX versus Bitcoin and how far away it is, and it's very, very closely linked, not far off in terms of price performance. So it just doesn't make too much sense to not be looking at this on the long haul and thinking, well, why not take that immediate gratification and delay that gratification just for a little bit more, at least until the bull run, right? At least until 2025, when everyone's talking about crypto at that point. And all of those adoption events start to happen. PulseChain, highest of stakes, both copies of HEX, all kinds of things happen. T-share rate goes up, bull market goes, all of those things that are going to be beneficial to you, that are price performance beneficial. So it confuses me as why people just lose their minds even before PulseChain.
It's not that confusing when you realize the quality of people's thoughts and just the people don't have critical thinking abilities. They were never taught finance in school, and we live in also this throwaway culture of the 5-second TikTok, right? So everyone just onto the new thing, onto the next dopamine hit, and it's not that surprising, right? It's like a lot of people wouldn't make good investors anyway, right? Even if they weren't in HEX. If they were in the stock market, God forbid, they would just be chasing the hot new stock of the week over there too, because they don't have the ability to hold anything for longer than a day or a week or a month. It feels like a long time to them. It comes from a place of desperation, partially. You can't be desperate when you are investing. And a lot of people, I don't even think that they're ready to be investing. If you can't afford to put food on the table, or if it's going to keep you up at night, if your investment falls, 30-40% in a month, and if that's going to if you're going to shake yourself out and sell the low and take the loss, then you are not cut out for this game in general, because crypto is just like the stock market on steroids. It goes up way higher, but it also goes down way higher. And we say this all the time, but the price you pay for the mad gains is extreme volatility. By extreme volatility, I mean, the price goes up 10,000x and then it drops 90%. But what's a 90% dip from a 10,000x? It's still a 1,000x. So even at the all-time or the most recent lows of HEX, me having got in early, I was still up a couple 100x on my money. It didn't feel good, but when you have that cushion of you've already gone up so much, it really helps you to deal with these insane dips, just because you also have these insane pumps as well. But yeah, I think we just need to teach people that if you're not ready to calm down, if you're going to let your emotions drive you, if you're an irrational person, or if you're prone to anger and stuff, you need to work on yourself first. Like, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough exercise? Are you getting a decent diet? Do you have good friends and support role models in your life? And if you're not checking these basic boxes, right? Eat, sleep, and exercise is pretty much the main one. But if you look at your lifestyle and you're playing World of Warcraft all day and chugging Mountain Dew, and waking up, taking an Adderall first thing in the morning, and then smoking weed before you go to bed, that's not a healthy lifestyle. That's very conducive to almost anything productive. Nevertheless, investing with real money, this isn't a game, bros. It's not a game. So take care of your body, be ready to invest, and realize too that you are investing, not trading. Investors are the ones that win. This isn't like some get rich quick, Wolf of Wall Street, wet dream that you have where you're dating models and, going to the beach and trading in your underwear, making $100,000 overnight. Nobody does that. We also glorify. Yeah, the Wolf of Wall Street himself was a drug addict. He had a terrible, terrible life. Like that movie was not really meant to glorify his life, but rather show how flawed he was and how Wall Street kind of can value these psychopath lifestyles sometimes. But he was chewed up and spit out, and he went to jail. So it's like it's not all Lambos and Rolexes and snorting coke and all this stuff. It's like calm, collected, sound decision making, and then holding for the long term.
Yeah. If you look at I watched that movie, The Big Short, and you look about the characters behind The Big Short as well. A lot of it was building up to that moment. A lot of them knew years in advance that it was going to happen before it happened, and then made the play when it needed to be made. And it was kind of a moment in time. But the years before that, building up to it, was what they were warning other people about, that this market can't hold itself. And there were years before that, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of research, and then it played out. And so I think, like you said, Hollywood really glorifies it. It glorifies this kind of short-term day trader mentality, Forex trader. Hey, check out my Lambo, check out my fake Rolly type thing. But day trading, it just gets you wrecked, man. It really does. It really does. And the day traders I know who have been successful are shorts, mainly because a lot of stocks are pumping down and they're shorting the stock. But if they make the wrong play on a short, they get destroyed. They absolutely get destroyed. So it's one of those things. You need to be understanding the market and taking time, but just relax with it. You got time. You got time in this market. We got cycles.
Exactly. And yeah, when it does come to day trading too, if you're not prepared to make that your full-time job, you're not ready. And take it from someone that's lost money for 5 years in a row, attempting to day trade and then swing trade and then God knows what. I mean, I didn't even have strategies at certain points. But then I tried to make bots. I tried to chase pump and dumps, all this kind of stuff. Since 2015, from 2015 to maybe 2017, maybe 2018, I was a degen, right? And then in 2018, 2019, I started to shape up really and then get better. In 2022, retired. So you just learn from what I did and don't waste those 2 or 3 years that I wasted. And if you do want to be a day trader, maybe consider working for a prop shop that actually has the resources and the strategies and the years of experience to help you, because you're not going to beat, as a little retail investor, you're not going to beat Goldman Sachs, who's front running your trades. They're closer to the exchange. They see everything that's about to happen. They have more brain power, more quants, more money than you, more capital. They can afford to take losses that you can't. They can afford to take positions that you can't. And you're going to get chewed up and spit out. Retail is exit liquidity. In the stock market, and a lot of times even in crypto too, there's someone that's always going to be smarter than you. It's probably not you. I hate to be blunt like that, but there's a better way. We have a question in the chat. Someone's asking, do I still think that we see a plus 20 cent hex before mainnet? I think there is a really good chance still. Yeah, my answer is yes. It could definitely go to 20, 30 cents. What it kind of depends on, in my opinion, is how much of a warning are we going to get? So I don't really believe that it's going to be a stealth launch of PulseChain, but there's a difference between if Richard gives us a 2-week notice versus a 1-day notice, right? And there might be different advantages to both. If he gives us a 2-week notice, well, that would give the hex price a lot of time to run up, but then it would become a buy the rumor, sell the news for certain people. And if he's trying to avoid a pump and dump, like a big payday type of thing where everyone buys up the price, let's say they buy it up to 30 cents and then they crash HEX back down to 2 cents afterwards. That could happen because a lot of people don't understand that HEX will still have value one day after it's liquidity bonded. So if he's going for the shorter term, kind of like a fire drill, like, hey, you've got 24 hours, but get your shit together. That could be an interesting play because technically he's still giving you enough time to get your coins in your own wallet and make your arrangements or whatever. But there might not be enough time for the market to react. And we might see most of the pumping happen after the fork, which would be, I think, a potentially good play too. I don't know what's the right answer here. And we just have to see what Richard thinks is the right answer, because does he want the pump and dump or does he want a soft launch kind of? And then as people are finding out about it, oh my God, did you hear PulseChain launch yesterday? No, I didn't hear. And then they all pile in and rush to buy HEX and PulseChain, not even knowing anything about what's going on, and then the price of everything can kind of go up. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. There's those two plays, right? Like Richard either gives us notice, and what will happen is a lot of the liquidity within the liquidity pools gets withdrawn. As that gets withdrawn, we've got low liquidity, and obviously with low liquidity, we see either the price appreciation go very, very quickly up and a lot of slippage, or price appreciation go down. But in a hyper event like PulseChain launch, we'll probably see some quite quick movement to the upside where a lot of hype comes in, a lot of people come in, not so much liquidity available, and then see that price go up significantly. But then once the fork has happened, you'll definitely see a big drop off, or that kind of stealth launch, secret launch, right? And that's stealth launch, secret launch is interesting to see. I don't know where I'm at on the fence on it, because I think the stealth launch, obviously, that will keep, that soft launch will keep the price fairly stable, but it will piss off a lot of people as well. So
it's the people that he would want to piss off anyway. It's all the people that he wouldn't care about. What he wouldn't care about their feelings, because he'd be like, oh, you just wanted to make this a day trading event, didn't you? Right. So exactly. Fuck you. But I should also clarify, like, stealth launch, I think what we're talking about, it doesn't mean stealth launch as in he doesn't say anything at all and just it's casually just existing for one day. It just exists and it's up to the people to figure it out. I think of stealth launch more as he only gives you, let's say, 24 hours notice. He still gives you notice so he can say, yeah, I told you it's coming out. But it's not a giant period of run up and then crash. It's more so there's kind of order that comes out of the chaos. Like there's an advantage to having this chaotic launch where people kind of find out about it quickly, because then they're all rushing and scrambling, and in their confusion, they might actually keep all the prices up, including the Ethereum version of HEX.
It's interesting to see. I'm kind of excited. I did a little bit. I'll bring it on stream actually. I'm just going to present a quick chart. So one of the things that I've brought up, I was having a look at like when Richard has announced like V2B, for example, when he announced it on Twitter, then V3, and then also V4, and what's happened with the price action. And obviously a lot of people have been like, oh, he's announced it, price action isn't as good as before, blah, 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 crying about it. But it's
it was never part of the plan anyway. So expecting it was going to be like a V3 all over again. Like V4 was a very last minute thing, and it was one variable fix, you guys. V4 was to fix literally the inflation rate and to make the validators profitable. That was the primary goal. And yeah, people got weird about that. I don't think anybody really understood what they were talking about.
No, they didn't have a clue. And Brett said the reason why V4 came out. If we look here, I mean, this was the announcement literally from Richard on V2B, and the liquidity pool had filled up to about 113 million HEX, and then obviously we had that massive run up in towards the 12-cent mark there. Then from there we had a massive drop off. Now, just to give some understanding here, the liquidity pools were in total about 50 odd million HEX around this mark here, around about the 12-cent mark. As we know, when you got that low liquidity available, there is not as much HEX on the market to purchase up, but there is more USDC, more Ethereum available, and a lot of bigger whales or bigger players may have sold on that point. They're allowed to sell. Don't cry about it. It's just part of the game. And we saw some massive drop off there. Now, the next major announcement was V2B will be offline, migrate to testnet V3. And again, we around this mark here, we had 85 million. It jumped up to about 107 million HEX available. And we saw a couple of days later, price appreciation go up, and that price movement again going up. And we saw kind of a wick up to around about the 9-cent mark, give or take, down from this wick down here around the 6-cent mark. Now, how does it play out now? So if I go, and I'm just going to quickly zoom out here, we're starting to see, I mean, V4 was announced a few days ago. The liquidity pools are filled up. We've got 132 million total HEX available, and we're starting to see a few little green candles. And I'm really interested to see what will happen in the next few days or so, whether we see a little bit of price appreciation with that run up. We've seen that the bigger whales, the bigger sharks in the ecosystem, when we see liquidity around about that 100+ million mark in HEX, we start to see them making big purchases. The gold whale did that in his previous purchase, and so it's interesting to see. I'm very interested to see what happens in the next few days. So keep an eye on the price here, guys.
That's literally all I keep my eye on. you don't need to tell me to keep my eye on the price.
Well, I'm just, all of those guys who are a little bit despondent, just keep an eye on the price. We might see some cheeky movement on the upside.
Just be optimistic, man, and go pump your own bags, right? You have the ability to get out there and spread the word, because adoption is the only thing that matters. You crying on Twitter, or getting in these group chats on Telegram and just complaining, that doesn't do anything for the price. That doesn't, no matter how hard you complain about the price being down, that's not going to make it go back up. What makes it go back up is adoption, onboarding, user experience, and making better products that people actually want to use. So that's what Richard's doing. Richard likes pumps, so he's going to make products that people want, and he's going to try to pump them. And he's an expert marketer, and we're all kind of just, riding his coattails to a degree. But I've learned a lot about marketing in my days. I'm sure so have you. Repetition, it does get boring, but repetition. Like, just keep driving home these value props, drilling them into people's heads so that they know why what they have is good and valuable, why there's so much potential behind it, what it does, how to use it, and eventually you'll just get these bigger players on board. On top of that, you just got to realize all markets are cyclical, right? We're kind of in this, if I got to compare it to like the last cycle, we're in the 2019 period right now. This feels a lot like that lull, that boring period of 2019, where HEX didn't launch until December 2019. So, we were kind of flat and boring all year long. And in my opinion, HEX kicked off kind of what's called DeFi, DeFi summer, some people call it, or the 2020 altcoin run. HEX was the first DeFi product that launched right at the end of 2019. And then everything just absolutely ripped, right? We had Aave, Compound Aave, all these innovations that, we're just taking off and going crazy. It could be till November, December of this year that PulseChain launches. And then we could make 2024 would be like the 2020 of the previous cycle. 2025 would be like the 21. And then maybe we peak out at the end of 25 in 2026, right? But these are accumulation zones. And when you think about how eerily similar this year is to 2019 or 2019, you can realize that, that was really the time to be accumulating. If you accumulated Ethereum below $200 back then, it's kind of like accumulating Ethereum below, $1,500 today, if you get those opportunities. So these dips are really just accumulation zones. And you got to realize that the markets will come back, right? The Fed will print money again. And we're really looking at this giant wealth transfer. The election cycle's coming up. That's a new thing I don't think people are talking about yet. I truly believe that enough people have been pissed off that we're not going to elect another degenerate in office, or even in the chair, even the new chair of the SEC or the new Congress people replacing Warren. I think they've pissed off the wrong people. And the people that they're trying to, I guess, pander to don't really even care about crypto, right? So they're barking up the wrong tree, trying to make crypto the enemy. It feels like the tides will turn way in the favor of pro-crypto candidates in the next election cycle. And people are going to be talking about that in the whole year of 2024, right? That's going to be the main topic of discussion.
So with what you've said about kind of what might happen with the election and stuff like that, we're going to see probably some crazy volatility in terms of price movement coming up to the elections. But where do you think the US are actually going with it? Because obviously, if they don't take on that kind of more adoptive stance of taking on crypto, they may lose it to bigger players outside of themselves. Like, we're talking nation states, maybe like China, maybe like some of their enemies, right? Like a lot of people that may accept crypto and may like crypto more than them. Whereas the opposite side of the coin is, if they do adopt it and they do regulate it, even though a lot of people will be pissed off by the regulations, it would be very good for the US as well. How do you see it playing out long term? Like, what's the sentiment? Obviously, I'm not in the US, so I don't know exactly how the sentiment is. But is it just coming from the kind of red states where they want their pro-crypto, or is it a case where it is a multitude multitude of different people that want it to be kind of a hub for crypto.
They're trying to make it a partisan issue, meaning they're trying to make it red versus blue. But I think there's enough of the blue people that are simply moderates and not just political extremists, like that like crypto as well. There's a lot of liberals that are into crypto, and there's a lot of people that still have enough balls to think for themselves and to not just cry out for daddy government to come save them every time they lose money. Now, there's always going to be those people like that. Those blue-haired nose ring kind of people with, we need help. We need someone to help us and, push, socialism and all that stuff. But they're not realizing that the game that they're playing is something that's pro-innovation. So if you're anti-crypto, you're anti-innovation. It's like, imagine if we tried to ban the internet in the United States. Now, some people did. Some people got very scared when the internet came out. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing old dinosaurs in Congress that don't really understand what's going on. They don't really understand the importance of crypto and how it is the next revolution since the dawn of the internet. It is the next greatest innovation of our generation. And that scares some people because they feel like they're losing control. Whereas the people that are able to ride the wave and adapt and roll with the punches, or even some of the older guys in Congress that realize, hey, we just lost a couple good companies to China. If this keeps happening, we're going to fall behind in our status as a world economic power. I think there's enough of those people to give me hope and optimism that maybe we won't fuck this up royally. Now, it's always going to be bumpy. We're always going to mess things up along the way. I saw you guys in the UK just put out some regulation finally about stable coins. But did you read it though?
I haven't read it, no. I'm not a massive fan. I've been watching more what they're doing with CBDCs and kind of the viewpoint on that, because I think that's the first thing that's going to be coming in. And I'm not a fan at all. They're saying about £5,000. To give perspective, that's about $7,500 max total in your bank account to be held, which is insane, right? Like it's absolutely insane.
Wait,
maximum. Yeah,
bro, that should be the minimum. What the hell?
It should be the minimum. Should be the minimum for everyone, right? Like it's pretty insane. You read the paper and you read how much control they'll have over you in terms of your transactions, what you can buy, what you can sell, all of that kind of stuff. I'm not a massive fan. And I think that we are pushing more towards that way. Not a big fan of Rishi Sunak, who's obviously our prime minister. Why would a guy who's worth 70 plus million take a job that's only going to pay you 173K a year? You may want to ask yourself that question.
Those speaking fees, bro. We got it in America too. We got the same shit, different day. Yeah, different pigs wearing different colored makeup. But basically, I don't think the UK is doing it right. I definitely don't think anybody's really doing it properly. It's embarrassing on a lot of fronts when you see people saying Hillary Clinton, oh no, Bitcoin could destabilize nations. It's like, yeah, it could destabilize them from the US dollar. That's why you're scared. It could actually bring power back to the people where they're free to transact how they want and can't have their bank accounts shut off at any time. The CBDCs are basically the ones where you have an off switch on your wallet. And now, if you're living in a world where it's mandatory to use a CBDC, everyone can just kind of shut you off at will. That's not the world you want. So I believe you really can't stop self-custodied wallets, and self-hosted wallets is what they're calling them. It's kind of a misnomer. They're not understanding that it's just a keychain. So they can't stop you from having a digital keychain. And that's what a self-hosted crypto wallet really is. Not your keys, not your coins. And if you own your private keys, luckily, that's you can't press the off switch on that. The latest proposed regulation, the Achilles heel of what I saw in the past UK, whatever paper they put out, their framework stated that anytime you withdraw over $1,000 from exchange, that has to be reported for AML purposes.
Yeah,
kind of bullshit. I mean, you could still go VPN into KuCoin or whatever. Long live KuCoin. But I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna adapt and roll with the punches here, because that one didn't seem to be a total death blow to crypto. They were basically admitting that, okay, well, we know self-custody wallets are going to be a thing now and we can't do anything about it, but we're going to really throttle the off ramps and we're going to really make sure that we know exactly how much crypto you have and all this stuff. But I still have faith that we're going to innovate faster than they can regulate at the end of the day. they're always going to be a decade behind. I mean, they're just now trying to figure out what Bitcoin mining is. They're like, oh, we need to ban Bitcoin mining. And it's like, we have proof of stake now, guys. We've had it for a while. Like, a lot of Bitcoin miners are kind of irrelevant. Like, even if mining goes to China, okay, China wastes more electricity. We innovate new blockchains. Like, that's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know.
Yeah, the UK, if they can tax on anything, if they can get their grubby hands on anything, then they will. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Everything that you pay for, everything's got VAT, everything's got road tax, anything like that. So they just want to get a portion of it. They want to get their hands on it. I've talked many times before, but lots of people can get around that. There are a lot of guys who are using tax havens around the world. I know plenty of English guys who are moving across to Dubai. It's just way easier to live their life. It doesn't cost too much to do it, and they can buy a place with crypto. They can buy clothes with crypto. They can buy a car with crypto. So there are ways around it. And if you want to stay UK based, if you really want terrible food and terrible weather, then feel free. And you want to be in London where you probably get stabbed for a watch, feel free. I don't know if I want to stay there. I don't think it's part of the unfortunately it's a great place. Like, London has been a fantastic city for a long period of time, but the decisions that have been made in the last 10, 15 years have completely destroyed it as a place. We used to have so much foreign investment. We used to have so many people wanting to spend their money in London, wanting to come to London. Like every American that I knew wanted to come to London to go check it out and see where the Queen lived. Now it's just a case where you hear worse sentiments, and gang violence is rising. I'm not going to blame it all on single motherhood, but also families are kind of non-existent. You have more single mother families, and then you have children that are raised, I would say, not in that traditional nuclear family, and that has societal issues that come with it. So it's and then the rest of the UK is kind of becoming more socialist. They're definitely not into this free market capitalist viewpoint that I think the American and the foundations of America was based on, right? Like small, medium-sized businesses creating value and giving it to people and creating wealth. The American dream. That's what I knew, and that's what I heard. So,
well,
yeah,
we're scared of that going away as well. We're both seeing the degradation of that. I think our local cultures and stuff, but overall, they're still great places to live. And I loved London when I visited. No, I probably wouldn't move there, but hey, if I had to choose between Canada and London, I'd probably pick London. But all these first world countries, right? We're all very wealthy, but we're all seeing the cracks of kind of the end of the fall of Rome, so to speak, right? It's like living in this decentralization of power structures where everybody that has money can just move to Antigua or St. Kitts or Barbados and just set up shop there. And it's the haves and the have-nots, and kind of the haves and the have-yachts, right? Like that you go to some of these rural places, and it's like they need this universal basic income, or they don't have the basic necessities to even survive, and so the wealth gap is getting larger and larger, and people are some things should be socialized, right? Like medicine, healthcare probably should be socialized, but as we've seen in the UK, like that doesn't mean it's perfect. Just because it's a social thing that you can get, that every person can get, it doesn't mean it's good quality either. So it's just funny. It's like, it does seem like the world is falling to shreds, or like falling to hell in a handbasket. But I think we can really, I don't know. I think we can just Hail Mary our way out of it. We've got to at least try.
I want to get your opinion. The last time that we spoke, we had a couple kind of conspiracy theories, and we talked a little bit about that stuff. I want to talk about one thing that happened today. So the big headline on Twitter in general, and also UK Twitter, was, if you didn't know, there was an announcement that was made on everyone's phone today. It was an emergency broadcast announcement that everyone got as a test. Okay, so there was a test announcement. So whether you had an iPhone, an Android, whatever it was, everyone at the same time, I think it was around about 3 o'clock today, got a text message saying emergency announcement, we are trialing this. Okay. And it was announced by the new minister, I can't remember which minister he is, that it was going to happen. It was all over the news. Loads of people talking about it on social media. Now, what's really interesting is the sentiment of what's going on in the eastern side of Europe, right, towards Russia and Ukraine, and what's going on there, and the potential for things moving in that direction, potential for NATO to get involved probably within the next year or so. What I think is a real weird coincidence is that we have an emergency broadcast text message, and then we also had, we're seeing that NATO might be joining in this, conflict against Russia. Coincidence, or maybe there's something to it? What do you think?
Yeah, they're just testing it, bro. They just want to make sure it works so that when they need to, that sounds like V for Vendetta, man. You know that movie?
Yeah, I was watching it the other day.
But look, emergency broadcasts are nothing new. I mean, everyone gets one. Local child in your area has been, abducted. Keep an eye out for whatever. But yeah, when the government's using it at that scale, and the timing is like that, it does get a little suspicious, right? Yeah, it's just my brain immediately goes to, well, how do we work around that, right? How do we get our phones wiped clean? How do we get our isn't there a new phone out called something like the No Phone or something, where it's not tied to any Google or Android operating system? It's not tied to any Apple operating system. It's purely actually your own data, your own phone. But then there's hassles that come along with that. Like how many of the population uses a VPN? Maybe 1%, maybe
Barely
5%.
any.
Yeah, I mean, that is a way you can protect your freedoms, but not, a lot of people are just going to fall in line. But those are the same people too that they just want to go home. They want to work their 9 to 5, sit on their ass, watch TV, drink beer, go to bed, rinse, repeat, right? So maybe a lot of people that don't have anything to say or anything to hide shouldn't care about freedom of speech or freedom of privacy anyway. But I do. So I'm always just trying to be one step ahead.
100%. We got some people coming in the chat. What's up, Crypto Sloth? How's it going, man? Good to see you as well. And Archie's hit the nail on the head, right? When they tell us about the next monkeypox. Yeah.
I stopped listening to all that. I stopped listening, man. Variant Zeta Reticuli, whatever they're calling it now. And it's over. In the States too, they did declare that COVID is officially over. So that's nice.
Yeah. All of that craziness for the last 2-3 years, and then boom. I mean, it was great for price performance, see that drop and be able to purchase up. I think that's how I made a load of money from Ethereum, but shout out to them. Let's have a look at this. Hey guys, love the content. Massive, huge fan of the alpha here. Do you guys look at DXY US dollar as sign that the crypto is moving up or down? Do you want to hit that call?
I mean, yeah, usually when the dollar is moving up, that's a sign that money is flowing from risky investments into the dollar, right? So it's usually bad for everything, and crypto still is a risk-on asset. We're starting to see the inklings, the very beginnings of a decoupling, I believe, of people using crypto for the purpose of actually not using the dollar. But right now, crypto is not so much in competition with the dollar. It is a risk-on asset. I believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see crypto assets becoming direct competitors. And especially once we start pricing things in Bitcoin or in Ethereum terms, that's when crypto has moved from the store of value, which it started off as, into the medium of exchange. And then the final step, the final trifecta, is the unit of account. That's what makes money. Those three things: store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. Once cryptos start to become a unit of account, they will become competitors with the DXY, and we will be able to see that will be more of an inverse correlation, right? Or more of a direct correlation. But right now it's an inverse correlation. So DXY up, crypto down. I don't really look at it day to day though. To answer your question, because I'm not a trader, I just know that it's gone up a lot in the past 6 months, ever since we've done some quantitative tightening, in the US. Money is harder to get now, so most people are, selling their assets for dollars. But we can look for a reversal on that, I think, near the end of this year.
Good stuff. KD, funny how Charlie 19 narrative evaporated. Yeah, shout out to Vladimir for eradicating that.
Yeah, Vladimir, my boy. Woo! And, I think he's got does he have cancer?
That's the narrative the West likes to put out.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you know what was really interesting? I was in Cuba recently, and all I could watch on TV, because the internet's dog shit, was RT News. So it's really interesting to see the dynamic of the news programs that the BBC put out and also American news outlets put out versus kind of Russian media, state media puts out as well. Quite funny clips of Joe Biden tripping and falling down. Like it looked like a Donald Trump campaign against Biden.
That's hilarious. It's so hard to even lie about Biden though, because it's just so obviously true. Like it's like you don't have to make up, oh, Biden's compromised, because that's just a fact. Like you don't have to make up that he's got Alzheimer's. He's got it.
100%.
Sad.
It is true. Also, who do you think gets voted in? Like, do you think that Trump's going to win it, going to get in? I know probably that the Republicans will come in, but obviously I've been told that what's the governor's name? DeSantis might be running as well. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, getting political, I'm gonna piss some people off, I guess, no matter what. So let's just go for it. It's probably not gonna be Biden again, right? I don't know how much life he has left in him, but I also just think that he's been in kind of an embarrassment to just the look. A president should not look that way when he's running the entire country, and you almost just feel bad, right? You think about that as maybe your grandpa or something, and it's just like we should have an age cap, right? Or at least a health kind of a health check, right? We need to just get these guys examined, get them a physical, get them a proctologist, whatever you need. But no, he will be probably out, and someone else is coming in. I don't know if the Democrats have gotten their shit together enough to come up with a formidable candidate to replace him. But I also don't really love what's going on with the Trump-DeSantis dichotomy. I mean, Trump still wants to run. He still wants to win. He's still drunk with power. He's a total madman. He's a raving lunatic, but he's funny. He cracks me up. So sometimes I really do believe that when nothing gets done, it's actually the better. Like the more chaotic we can have our government, to the point where, like under Trump, like not a whole lot got done, And so that was actually net positive sometimes, because no laws are better than bad laws. But he's trying to cut into DeSantis's running, like his campaign a little bit. He's dissing DeSantis a lot publicly, trying to make him look bad. And it's getting a little old, right? Everyone's kind of tired of the whole Trump thing. We're like, okay, we get it. This is what you do. You talk shit about people. You think it's funny. I don't think he's being taken seriously by as many people. There's still some crazy people out there that'll be like, Trump is still our president, right? Like, he was never actually. I mean, you can't listen to those people, right? Just you got to choose Occam's razor sometimes. I don't know why Trump is still running. I kind of wish that he would step aside and let a regular Republican candidate like DeSantis run, just so that we can have just a shifting of the tides. And that's kind of been in my opinion, like the benefit of America in general, is because, yeah, it's a two-party system. Should there be more parties? Yes, probably. But the fact that the tides are constantly going from red to blue to red to blue, it almost creates so much chaos that nothing gets done, and we can still have some semblance of, free enterprise in America. So I'm not going to be voting for anyone based off of Democrat or Republican. I'm literally going to be a single issue voter. Whoever's pro-crypto, whoever's more pro-crypto is who I'm going with. Whether that's red or blue, I don't care. I've never cared about any of that. But overall, the whole incompetency of government, I think, is what's allowed innovation to thrive in the U.S. So the more incompetency, the better. Bring it on.
Yeah, they say that the markets do best when there's a split between Senate and also presidency. So if you've got a Republican president and a Democrat majority in Senate, that's usually what gets done, gets the markets the most stable, and that usually does well. And anything that's pro crypto, I'm on board with as well. We need strong leadership, and hey, I wouldn't mind DeSantis. I wouldn't mind Trump either, but I'd rather have DeSantis, to be fair.
Yeah, the cool thing about Trump is that he was a true, he wasn't really a Republican. He just had to go under that. He was more of a populist, and the whole drain the swamp narrative was true. I mean, he identified certain individuals that were deeply entrenched in this academic kind of cabal, where these guys all go to MIT or Harvard or whatever, and they all get their PhDs. They go do a couple of years at like a news broadcasting station, and then they work their way up into politics and Congress. They shake the right hands, they kiss the right babies, and then next thing you know, they're president or senator or congressman or woman. So it's just one big circle jerk, and everybody knows everybody, and they're all playing this dirty game that you were never invited to. So Trump was kind of an old school capitalist, right? He wasn't one of these new oligarch capitalists, these academic oligarchs. He was just a good old fashioned rich guy, which I kind of liked. And him calling people out was funny. Now, did he get a lot done? Not as much as I wish he probably would have, but his whole drain the swamp narrative didn't get too far, but he exposed a lot of it for what it really was. And yeah, he used to be a Democrat. Archie's right. They'll just go with whatever party suits their needs better at the time, or whoever's funding them, or there's a lot of money involved. It's just try not to take any of that too seriously, guys.
Got a question coming in. Well, it's not really a question. It's more of a statement. I can't accumulate if Pulse and PulseX doesn't launch. Don't you worry, Sunshine. You better have enough dry powder to buy that shit up, right? Don't you worry, Sunshine. You'll be fine. Let's see if you buy it on FOMO.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Pop the bags. How much time you got, Crypto Coffee?
I do have to get going, actually. I got to go. I have dinner in an hour, so got to go get ready.
There you go. All right. Well, let's chill yourself as well. You should know Crypto Coffee. If you're on my channel, you should know Crypto Coffee. But if you don't, go follow Crypto Coffee. Chill us your links, man.
Thank you for having me. Patreon.com/CryptoCoffee369 if you want to join my Patreon. Not only are you supporting the channel, but you can just chat with me one-on-one. I just get too many DMs all day. I can't be answering that all day, every day. But I do have a Discord. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about in there. I've got a course. If you're brand new to HEX, hexpassiveincome.com will take you from knowing absolutely nothing about crypto to knowing everything you need to know about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most importantly, HEX. And when PulseChain comes out, don't you worry. I'll be updating that for free for all existing students and for new people going forward. It will also have all the PulseChain information. But right now that doesn't exist, so I can't make it. But still, hexpassiveincome.com. It's great for friends and family. If you don't want to walk them through all about HEX for 12 hours, you could just buy this course. It's a one-time deal. And, it's prepackaged information, so they could always go back and reference it. Pretty affordable, pretty cheap. Like, I think it's a great deal. It's worth more than an hour of my time for sure. What else? Follow me on YouTube. I mean, just Google Crypto Coffee 369 and everything. Thank you, guys.
Pretty much one of the biggest influences in HEX, but not as big as. Don't forget Seven's interview with Ivan on Tech. Not as big as him, but
I can't believe. Fucking I can't believe Seven got Ivan on Tech though. Like that's pretty impressive. So
shout out to Seven, man. He's doing bits. The bottom's in. We're going back up. Good to see you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all of you coming in and all your kind comments, all of that kind of stuff. Find me at MGC Money Gang Crypto, patreon.com Money Gang Crypto as well if you want to support the channel. We're doing much more kind of in detail stuff on there. So yeah, any questions that you ask specifically, if you're wanting to game plan your PulseChain strategy, I can tell you the exact dates, where you want to be, what time analysis, things of all of that fun stuff. Also, you can find me on Twitter, Money Gang Crypto as well. Like and subscribe. If not, doesn't matter to me. It's all good. Anyway, I really appreciate your coffee. Enjoy the cruise, and I'm sure you'll probably make a lot of content coming from that as well. All right?
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
You'll see some clips. So thanks, man.
And then May time, guys. Look out for it. We might have some big stars coming to London. Cool.
Love it.
Appreciate your time. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.